Hello, video gamers. I'm Shu Tanaka.
I'm Chan Tanaka.
And welcome to another episode of Shu and Chan Unscripted, where we take on the video game industry news of the day without the benefit of a script, rehearsals, or even, in some cases, a coherent understanding of the issues at hand.
Let's dive right in, shall we?
We shall, and for good reason, because the dominant news item of the last month, in or out of the gaming industry, is nothing less than a rampant virus that has already claimed the lives of thousands around the globe. I speak, of course, about COVID-19, street name, the coronavirus.
I'm not sure that's necessarily considered a street name.
It's what the kids call it, the big CV, the Wuhan sniffles, Mexican malt fever.
It's what everyone calls it, and I think you're making the other ones up.
Well, somebody has to. If you want the younger generation to take something seriously, you have to give it a hip, happening name, something you can build an advertising campaign around. Take your youth market cues from the Sunny D Company, and you'll never steer wrong.
I think at this point the kids are already taking it seriously, even if it's only because the virus is causing severe delays for entertainment products and services.
Yes, I was getting to that. Coronavirus concerns have already led to the postponement or cancellation of a number of industry gatherings, most notably the annual Game Developers Conference, after major players like Microsoft and Sony announced they were jumping ship.
While these kinds of delays are inconvenient and unprofitable for high-profile publishers, they can be devastating for smaller independent developers who rely on such gatherings for networking and promotion.
Because of this, several industry players have rallied to create a GDC relief fund for affected indie developers, and as we are huge proponents of developers receiving cash, we support this initiative 100%. More information can be found at wingsfund.me/GDC relief.
The delays have not stopped with industry gatherings. Response to the virus in manufacturing sectors has also prompted delays in a variety of physical consumer goods, ranging from the TurboGrafx-16 Mini to the very heart of our nation's morale, toys in the branded likeness of Baby Yoda.
Do you think all of this might be a bit of an overreaction, Chan?
I'd say that once we've entered thousands of people dead territory, that particular ship has sailed, brother. It's highly unlikely that the United States has seen the worst of the virus thus far, and we in the industry should anticipate a response to match. More delays, more cancellations, even the traditional summer venues, if not canceled outright, could be scaled back dramatically.
Even E3?
It could easily become a shadow of its former self.
Well,
more than right now, I mean.
These are dark days.
We did make a short review of the CDC guidelines before the show, however. Tell the audience, brother, what can the average gamer do to protect themselves and others during this health crisis?
First, individuals should stay indoors and limit exposure to other people, which puts the video gamer populace well ahead of the curve, many of them having practiced these very guidelines since early junior high.
What else do they say?
Well, the second bit is to wash your hands thoroughly and often, something which we must concede the gamer populace is decidedly not ahead of the curve on, based upon our own convention experiences.
Too true.
In fact, if the health of the world hinged upon the state of hygiene we observed in the men's restrooms at FanzarCon 2018, we'd be looking at a global survival rate of about 1%.
At one point, a visitor wandered in from the furry convention being held on the other side of the Hilton, and what he saw in there was so horrible that he projectile vomited inside his giant cartoon wolf head. Paramedics had to be called.
The last piece of advice on here is that people can limit transmission of disease germs by avoiding touching their own faces, especially the mouth and eyes.
Excellent advice.
Tried and true.
My eyes just became unbearably itchy.
Mine as well. Let's move on to a lighter topic that probably won't kill us. Animal Crossing.
An inescapable island, a mountain of debt, and your only companions beasts of the forest with no concept of man's laws or morality.
I said probably. For longtime fans of the franchise, Animal Crossing New Horizons looks to be changing up the series' mechanics dramatically, as Tom Nook sets himself up as dictator of a banana republic, and immediately puts you to work beefing up the non-existent infrastructure with nothing more to assist you than a blighted landscape of sticks and rocks.
The threat is implicit.
Where previous games kept your customization focus indoors, New Horizons looks to be giving you a great deal more freedom with your environment, allowing you to place furniture and decorations across the entirety of the landscape, and even providing you tools for light terraforming. You can build hills, create valleys, level forests, change the course of rivers, and price gouge the drought-stricken victims of your hubris for your life-saving water.
With the last entry in the series having arrived nearly 8 years ago and the current release less than 2 weeks away on March 20th, fan anticipation is sky high.
Yet by the machinations of fate, March 20th also marks the release of the similarly long-awaited Doom Eternal, the latest entry in id Software's Tactical Exorcism Simulator series.
At first glance, it would seem that the disparate nature of the two games would be leading to awkward competition when it came to gaming retail turnout.
After all, one series pits a single human against a surreal world of inhuman monstrosities, and the other one is Doom.
But the internet, proving itself once again as mercurial as the swirling seas, has in fact brought the two franchises together under an umbrella of wholesome friendship, and, in what is perhaps a first for internet fanfiction, did not immediately make them start kissing.
Memes now abound of Doom Guy purchasing Animal Crossing characters purchasing Doom, Doom Guy and Isabel slaughtering demons, Doom Guy and Isabel relaxing in a cafe along the French Riviera, and inevitably subtle commentary on both franchises delivered via the incomprehensible medium of obscure anime in-jokes.
It is rather heartwarming, isn't it?
Heartwarming, smartwarming, it's brilliant cross-promotion. You can't ask for better PR than the kind of social media interactions that have random jerks on the internet doing your marketing work for you.
But it would do well to remember, brother, that however financially advantageous the results, the fan reactions, the artwork, the memes were genuine acts of affection from two enthusiastic and supportive fan bases. It's a decidedly non-toxic community reaction and should be applauded.
Sure, I suppose if we're setting the bar for acclaim down into the territory of merely didn't call SWAT teams on and or question the sexuality of rival players.
This is the video game community, brother, so yes, that's where the bar is.
Well, fair enough. What else do we have today?
Well, March will also be seeing the long-anticipated and yet somehow also completely unexpected release of Half-Life Alyx, the VR-exclusive return to the nearly forgotten world of Valve's Half-Life series.
Definitely a surprise for me. Over the past decade and change, the Half-Life series has mostly existed in the form of jokes about there no longer being much of a Half-Life series. So for a new title to essentially spring out of nowhere and a VR-exclusive title to boot, the gaming community has largely been unsure whether to cheer, laugh, or simply stare with their mouths hanging open.
Let's start with what we've seen so far of the gameplay. VR aside, this is classic Half-Life, is it not?
It is, but I really don't think you can put VR aside. This is a game that has very consciously been engineered to be a killer app for virtual reality, the Valve Index headset certainly, but also the wider VR platform in general, which has over the past few years had steady but slower than anticipated growth. I think if we are to evaluate Half-Life Alyx, it will be necessary to do so in relation to that goal.
That's a lot of pressure for a lapsed franchise's prequel side story, brother. Even Halo only had to remove a $300 game console. How good does a game have to be to justify an $800 headset and a $1,000 PC to run it? If it doesn't also cook you breakfast and hold you when you cry, no game is likely to move PC VR out of the enthusiast market until pricing falls.
I don't think it's that dire, brother, and besides, who says we're only talking about PC VR? The next generation of consoles are on the horizon, and Sony's already pledged VR support. Maybe the plan isn't for a launch window shock and all campaign. Maybe it's just to give VR an extra bit of forward momentum.
I suppose that's possible.
Although if they really wanted to move these things, they'd release a foam add-on that makes your headset look like a head crab.
Astutely noted, brother. Is that everything for today?
Well, no, unfortunately. It looks like it's time again for
Arnie's Mailbag. I'm Arnie the Ground Squirrel, and this is my mailbag.
It looks like a Dragon Ball Z backpack.
That's why I was specifying. I can't seem to find my actual mailbag. It's been a few months.
Is there mail in there at least?
Yes, and half a bag of loose Skittles that broke during transport. You can help yourself. They're at the bottom. Just blow off the lint.
Let's see that mail.
Okay, well, there's only one this time. It's from Carrot the Kid, and they write, do you think E3 is going to be relevant in the future?
That's the kind of question we like, slightly vague so it's hard to prove us wrong. The real question there is, what do you mean by relevant? I think with Sony's multi-year absence, we're already seeing the erosion of E3's position as the world's dominant gaming event, but more to the point, we're not really seeing anything else rising up to replace it. For the past several years, it could be argued pretty solidly that the exposition was more beneficial for the gaming community than it was for the publishers, and that doesn't bode well for what is ostensibly still a trade show. With Nintendo and Sony both proving that attendance is by no means mandatory for success, I anticipate that the exposition will simply evolve from the unique venue that it is into just another fan convention.
Moving in a more conventional direction, you might say.
You might if you enjoy being punched.
And that finishes the episode. If you've got questions for Arnie's mailbag, post them in the comments below and we'll read them on a future episode with the bare minimum of ridicule.
If you want to hear more from this audio series, consider joining our Patreon, link below.
More cash equals more shows.
That's capitalism for you. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, and then also be sure to hit the notifications icon, because apparently liking and subscribing just isn't enough to convey that you want to hear more from us.
They are not trusting souls, these corporate overlords.
That's also capitalism for you. Until next time, video gamers, this is Shu and Gentanaka signing off.